So I'm gonna go and recap all of the cards spoiled in this first week of the Kickstarter. Now some of these I already mentioned in my Kickstarter details video up there. So if you already saw those, you can just skip. But yeah, let's go. I'm gonna start with those and then move on to the new ones. So first of all, this Prelude, Applied Science. And what Applied Science does is it comes with 6 science resources, a wild tag, and you can either trade once per turn one of those science resources for a standard resource, or put a resource on a card with a resource, and that doesn't have to be standard, which means that can be an animal, or more importantly, a science resource. Now, I've been hoping for a card that can play science resources for a while, because it interacts with 3 really good cards that are well, not really good, but interesting cards. Physics Complex, Olympus Conference, and Search for Life. However, this doesn't work for 2 of them. For Search for Life, if you have the resource there, which you're required to, then you don't need another one because it only takes 1. And for Olympus Conference, it would only draw you 3 extra cards, which is kind of a low value for a Prelude, and that's if you manage to play science tags like after well, I mean all game, but you have to play the first science tag to activate it, and then you have to start putting it would be awkward, to say the least, to get that to work. So yeah, however, with Physics Complex, you get 1 resource there, and this is 12 victory points, which is totally worth it. Absolutely worth it. So, yeah, interesting, very niche. I think it's really if you have Physics Complex in your hand, this is great. Otherwise, yeah, I'm not sure I would ever play this. But I am kind of hopeful that there will be more science cards that are interesting and that can interact with these and maybe interact with the other ones. You can also use it on animals, and 6 victory points I think is a low value for a Prelude, but decent. But yeah, really it's just as a Physics Complex card. Okay, the next card I'm going to talk about is this Prelude. Now, I'm not going to talk about any of the wars that I can fully read, because I just want to talk about those when they come out fully. But this one you can fully understand what it does, and it gives you either 2 temperature steps, oxygen steps, or Venus steps, and it draws 2 cards with floaters. Now, I love this Prelude. It's great with MSI and Celestic, and both of those cards desperately needed a Prelude. There's really not a lot that helps them in terms of Preludes. I mean, the generally good ones like Allied Bank help everyone, but this is just like the Prelude that would make you pick that card. It's also a Venus tag, which is great. So really happy to see that. I mean, most of the time you're going to be playing the 2 Venus steps and getting the 2 cards, and with Celestic, that's 4 cards with floaters and the ability to place a floater. You're very likely to get something of value there that you can start, just abusing on turn 1. So great. And then the other card of this fussy group here that I'm gonna talk about is this one. I can't read the name, but it is 2 Venus tags as a requirement, and I think every time you trade it gives you 3 back. I think that's a 3, I'm not sure, but it's a rebate for sure. So I also really like this card. I mean, it's a Venus and Space tag, it's a cross expansion. There's not a lot of cross expansion really, other than the fact that it has a Venus tag and requires Venus tags. But the effect is really good. For 12 to get 3 every time you trade, that'll pay off for sure, and it's a victory point. You probably want to get this early, so it forces you into a Venus strategy early. And I think we do need more things that make you play Venus other than being MSI and Celestic, because really it's just something that players, it's not good enough. Right, those are all the ones in this group. And the last 2 that were spoiled on the first day were this Prelude, Anti-Desrtification Techniques. And it gives you a plant and a steel production and 3 mega credits. It's very similar to down farming. I think I prefer down farming because even though this one gives you 3 extra, the 2 mega credits are more flexible than the 2 steel. This one has a microbe and a plant tag, the other one has a plant and a building tag, so one's kind of better for Tharsis map, one is better for Elysium because of the milestones probably. Generally I prefer the building tag to the microbe tag, but yeah, I think this is basically done farming, and you would usually take it whenever you would take done farming, but I still prefer done farming a little more. Then we have this corporation, Tycho Magnetics, and this is basically just high-tech lab, the corporation. So you start with 42 in energy production, and then you could just do high-tech lab's ability, which is, you know, spend any amount of energy to draw that amount of cards and keep one. So doing deep searches of the deck like this is a very good ability, trust me. Like, if you ever played Magic the Gathering, you know that. So yeah, don't be afraid to spend 6 energy on this to keep the best card. It's absolutely worth it. And so I think this is a card that can abuse that from turn 1. And yeah, I think this corporation is probably amongst the top, even though the mega crates aren't that high. I like the science tag, so I mean, this is definitely for an engine game. You wouldn't never rush with this. But yeah, burn the deck searching for the better cards. And yeah, I think this is going to be one of the best engine corporations. Okay, now let's talk about the ones that I haven't talked before. And so the day 2 it's a project called Aqueduct Systems, and this basically draws you 4 building tags. The only problem is it has a requirement that I think this is a city next to an ocean. So not just a city and an ocean, a city next to an ocean, and there's no red border there, so it has to be a city owned by you. So my first thought when I saw this was builder. This is obviously great for the builder milestone, but it's not that simple to have a city next to an ocean out there early, especially in the Tharsis map, where the 2 best city spots are not, well, one is only next to one ocean that doesn't get taken early, and the other one is not next to any oceans. So yeah, this would be tricky for builder, I think. Either way, I think it's good. If you're playing something like Tharsis and you already have your city out, this is great. You just need to put an ocean there. But yeah, drawing 3 building tags with Tharsis is pretty powerful. If you're mining guild too, you'll probably find some tiles. Well, not probably, but maybe. So I think it's a good card, but it's kind of hard to get early. So that's the issue with it. The requirement makes it hard to get early, and building tags are not that valuable late. Early, great value. If you happen to have these requirements, great value. Otherwise, I don't know. So I think it's gonna be tricky to know when to keep this card. But I think it's balanced overall. Then Astra Mecanica, and this one I don't think it's balanced at all. So this one, you can read it here, but I've confirmed. This lets you bring back 2 events from your discard pile to your hand. Now the only condition is that they can place tiles, because I mean, I guess this is because the tiles are placed, and there's only, I think, 2 events that place tiles. That's Lava Flows and the new Demos Down, which places a tile. So if you're playing with the old Demos Down, it's only Lava Flows. But this ability is insane, because usually what's in your discard pile is much better than what's in the deck, because you've chosen to play that. And not only that, but you just get to pick them. I don't think you're just drawing 2 random event cards from your discard pile. I think you're just gonna pick the 2 best ones. So just imagine getting Giant Ice Asteroid back. Or playing this last 2 generations and doing a double, even though that would take a lot of money, but large convoy, I mean, that's 14 points. So yeah, I think this one's insane. I think the ability to just, you know, play Giant Ice Asteroid twice is insane. So yeah, we'll see. One of the best cards in the game. I think this is going to be a bit situational, so not the best, but yeah, you're gonna have some good events there every time. And this is a card that I will always keep, basically. finally, the one that was spoiled today, Carbon Nanosystems. So this introduces a new resource type called graphite, and whenever you play a science tag, including that one, you place a graphite resource, and then you can use that to base for space and cities. I think this is nice. I mean, it's pretty cheap. It comes with its own graphite resource. It's another engine card. So all three cards, I would say, are, well, no. Two of them are engine. I think the other one you can really use to rush the game, but you can also use for Astra Mecanica. You can also use for a engine or rush, depending on your events. But yeah, this one definitely for an engine. Now, this probably, if you play it even in the mid game, can make money. So it costs 17, and you get a discount of 4 for every science tag. So if you play 5 science tags, also 4, this one plus 4, it's paying you back 3 and giving you a victory point. So I think that's pretty good. I don't think it's unreasonable, the 5 science tags, but honestly, if you play 4, you're getting a victory point for 1. That's decent, even though you're getting that delayed. So I think this is kind of balanced, maybe a little risky, but if you're going heavy space, I think it's really good. Heavy cities, I mean, there aren't many good heavy city strategies. Maybe again Tharsis, but yeah, I think it's pretty good. It's pretty balanced, and I think it's a fun card to play. Right, so that's all for my video today. I hope you liked it, and I'll see you next time.